Hello everyone. This is Omar with a video on our new USDN Momentum EA for MT5. I've been working on this EA for a while and it's finally finished and it's functioning. I am still trying to optimize it and make it a little bit better, right? But for now, I think how it is, it's very, very, very good. So I'm just gonna open up a back test here. It says MT5 IC Markets account, right? And I just want to show you guys, right, how the back test looks. And over here in the settings of the back test, right, I'm just gonna show you what I have here. So this is a EA just for USD yen, USD JPY, and this EA you add on the regular 5-minute chart. So most of our EAs or all of our other previous EAs are with our Renko setup, our Renko system, and it has the EMAs and all that stuff. This is basically this EA you just use on a regular candlestick chart 5-minute. There is no analysis or any sort of thing like that involved. You just put it on the chart and you leave it. Right? This is a EA that's gonna do everything. It's gonna open. It has trailing stop that you can adjust and everything, and it manages the trade by itself, closes it by itself. It has a bunch of things in it, right? I'll go over all of them. But for now, just the settings, right? We have the EA selected, USDN JPY, 5-minute chart. And for now, I'm going to show you this is custom period from 2024 January 1st till May 13th, right? And delays. A lot of people when they do back testing, they don't change these settings here, right? They leave it at zero latency and they leave it on every tick. This is not a good way to backtest on MT5, right? Zero latency, this is not what happens in the real world, right? When you're in a live account, it's, like the server is communicating with you, and depending on where you are, you can have either 1 ms, 5 ms, 10 ms, right? And so in my case, you can see here, the last ping to my server is 46.24 ms, right? So I'm going to select that. Whatever the last ping is what you should use because in the actual live account, that's what's actually going to happen, right? Same thing with every tick. A lot of EAs out there, when you see their graphs looking nice and, clean, they are mostly testing on every tick. And every tick does not account for spread and it does not account for commission, right? Every tick based on real ticks account for spread and commission. Okay. This gives you the actual, like, what happened back then, right? So we're doing obviously a back test. We're seeing from 2024 to 2025. So every, actual spread and commission that they took per trade or they would have took per trade, this shows you that, right? And so that's why I have it based on the real ticks. Deposit, I'm just gonna put 5,000. You could do whatever, but I'm just gonna put 5,000 for now. USD, 1 to 100 leverage, right? And I'm gonna go to the inputs really quick. So these are the inputs. I'll explain them after the back test is done, right? But these are the default inputs that I will give to you. And these inputs are, I've optimized them as much as I could. There is obviously more to optimize, and I'll do that in the future. But for now, these are the best inputs that I found. And this EA does not have a regular lot size. This EA calculates its lot size based on the risk percentage that you tell it, right? So I don't recommend going over 3%. That's a little bit too risky. 1 to 3% is good. Think of 1 as light risk, think of 2 as medium risk, and think of 3 as high risk. It's up to you what you want to do. Obviously, the less risk you have, the less money you'll make. But again, it's up to you and how much you want to risk, right? That's all on you. And then it does have a regular take profit and a regular stop loss, but it also has a trailing stop loss and the way it calculates the trades are these settings here. I'll explain them. And then it has a timing filter as well, right? So I'll simply go and I'll start the back test. Again, this is from January 2024 till 2025, May 13th, right? Start the back test. And let's go onto the graph. Let it load the history. Now, What you'll notice is that there are no big drawdowns, balance-wise or equity-wise, right? The most the EA does is go flat. That's it. It will go flat, maybe slightly downwards, right? You might lose a little bit money here, but then it always ends up making a move higher, right? Flat here and then boom, one little bit flat here. Now even in this, going flat, it slightly had an angle towards the upside, and then boom, another big trade, another big trade. Came here flat, and then towards the end, another big trade. All right, but there are no running drawdowns, right? There are no big balance drawdowns. This has a tight stop loss, so that can't happen at all, right? Now going into the results, if you go to back test, these are the results. Okay. And these are very, very good results. So you can see the initial deposit of $5,000 came out to a total net profit of $570,000. Okay. This is with 99% history quality. And again, this is based on real ticks. So this does account for spread and commission. Okay. And now this might seem crazy, right? I mean, 5,000, so half a mil. But let's say it is crazy. All right. Let's say this is unrealistic. But even if your $5,000 went up to 50,000 or $40,000 in a year and a half, that's still pretty good, right? So let's say this is all just, whatever, this is fake or this is unrealistic. But if it made 570,000 in the back test, you don't think it can make, 30 to 50,000 in the real live, right? And so that's why, it's a pretty good, yeah, that's why I saw this. I was like, wow, you know. And not just this, I mean, there's other things to account for, right? If you look at the recovery factor, the recovery factor here is 20, almost 19.46. If you go to ChatGPT and you ask it, what is a good recovery factor for an MT5 expert advisor? You'll see, oops, I have to learn how to spell advisor. You'll see here it gives you a little list. And what does it say? Less than one is bad. 1 to 2 is average. 2 to 3 is good, and above 3 is excellent, right? Strong performance with good risk control. We have 20. So that, alone is just amazing, right? And now the next thing you want to look at is the drawdown. So you can see here the maximum balance drawdown is 5%, and the maximum equity drawdown is 5.3%. That's amazing, in my opinion, right? Going down to here, you have win percentage. So we had a 67% win rate, almost 70% win rate. We had consecutive wins where we had 17, which was around $40,000 almost, and the consecutive losses were only 10,000, right? So that's again good. And again, going to the graph, a lot of EAs, if you do see their graphs, they end up going like they just start going up and up and up and up and up and up nonstop, right? Those EAs mostly have a lot of drawdown. Well, the reason they're going up and up and up and up is that they either have huge stop losses, so they don't take a loss, right? If you have a 200 pip stop loss, it's like going straight, 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 and even if you're in equity drawdown, but that trade never closes because I mean it hasn't hit a stop loss yet. And then sometime that trade comes up and ends up hitting, TP or out on break even, and so it never actually took a loss. So that's why the graph never had any dip. My EA has a stop loss. It will take losses, right? But you've seen that win percentage we have 70, and the main thing that this EA has, right, is that it occasionally has winners that will cover like, you know, 10 losers. Like we have a 5 pip stop loss. Sometimes it will hit TPs of like 80 pip, right? And that's what you see here. That sometimes it'll go flat, but then you have a nice big jump here again. Then flat, and then a jump. So this EA has some logic into it, right? It has, a good risk to reward. That's why our profit factor, recovery factor is good. We have no drawdowns, no nothing. And you want to see here too, like let's say this little dip here, right? This is from when? You can hover over it and see from October 10th to December 2nd. You're basically making no money, right? But then from December 2nd to let's say December 12th, you made how much? You made what? This was balance was at 204,000. and went up to 283,000. You made $80,000 in a few days, and you could have 2 months where you make no money. So that's how the EA works. But at least you do not have a drawdown. There's no running drawdown, right? That's the biggest thing about this EA. Now we back tested it from, let's see here, from January, right? Now it's important to note something that this EA, you want to leave it on the chart for a while. By a while, I mean like 6 months to a year. That way you can get the best, most profits because this is a risk percentage EA, right? This calculates your lot size based on based on the percentage of your account. And so if the people that you don't know about compound interest, then search it up, right? But compound interest is a very powerful thing, right? And I'll show you how powerful it is. So we had 3% risk, right? We made 570,000. Now let's say it puts the risk to 1%, and then click start. Okay. And so remember, we had 5,000 initial deposit, 570,000 profit. Now we're doing 1% with the same 5,000 initial deposit, but now we'll see how much it makes. So the graph is fairly the same. Still have the same amount of graph, right? But instead of 570,000, you made 27,000, right? So significantly less because obviously you put 1% a risk. So it's not gonna, take any bigger trades. But what benefits you have of this is we had a higher recovery factor, okay? And we had a lower balance and equity drawdown because you're risking less, okay? And so let's do 2% risk. Oops. Again, graph is going to be fairly the same, but with 2% risk, it's significantly more money, 180,000, right? So depending on the risk percentage, you make that amount of money. And depending on how long you have the EA running for. So let's go back to 3%. Okay. Remember, it was 570,000, right? Now we were running this from when? January 1st, 2024. Let's say I did it only 1 year. So last year, May 13th. So from May 13th to May 13th, right? 1 year. And click start. Graph is still going to behave the same. It's going to have, flat moments, but then a nice move up. But now how much did you make? 300,000. So almost, around $270,000 less, right? Just that 6 month extra was $270,000. Okay. And now let's say I just started it from the beginning of this year. So January. And let's look at the graph, right? That 300,000 turned into 11,000. Okay. So the longer you leave it, the more chance you have at, maximizing your profits because this works on, what's it called? Percentage based lot size, right? So that is it so far. Now, this EA, it what's it called? It depends a lot on your broker. All right. So I've used this on IC Markets raw spread account. This is what I'm backtesting on. And IC Markets is by far the best broker because it has the lowest latency and it has the lowest spreads, right? And for this EA, that matters a lot. So if you do have access to IC Markets, the best thing for you is to get IC Markets. Get IC Markets because it beats all the other EAs, at least the ones that I have tested, right? There are probably a lot more EAs I don't know about, and I am going to test them out too and see how they work with this EA. But for now, I've only tested this on IC Markets, and you've seen how it works. These inputs are optimized, and again, these inputs you can change them, right? I'm not gonna go much into it because it will just tell you what the strategy is, but it has the risk percentage. This is the only thing you really have to change, right? These are optimized, but if you want to play around with them, right? You can open up your own back tester, play around with these settings, and see if you come up with anything else, right? It's up to you. And but this one I ran it through the optimizer and these now you can change these settings. The way I've optimized them at least is I wanted the best option for long term and short term. Okay. So you can optimize them for the best long term return, but they might do a little bit worse in the short term. Right? So I'll show you what that is. Let's say if I did the TP to like 1,000 and I changed this to let's do 100 and let's leave it at that, right? From let's go back to how we did the January 1st, 2024. That was coming out to 570,000. If I were to start it now with these settings, let it load the history again, right? So let it run and run and run. So instead of 570,000, it came out to 802,000. Almost, around $220,000 more, right? With these settings. Where are they? With these settings. But now with these settings, let's test it on the short term. So let's go to the January 1st. This was coming out, so remember, it was like 11,000 profit. Now let's run it. That $11,000 profit turned into 8,300. Okay. So short term, it might do slightly less, but long term, it did, a lot more. So it's up to you what you want. Short term, you can also see the drawdown on the short term is a lot more. Okay. But the drawdown on the long term is around the same. Maybe a little bit more, maybe like 13%. So you can play around with these settings. And if you know how to use the optimizer, you can optimize the settings yourself. We also have right here start hour, end hour settings as well. And this is the magic number. This is just a comment, so you know this is what the trade took, or this trade was from this EA, right? And so that's basically it. It's already on the website. I'm just gonna add this video on the page as well. And that's pretty much it. Again, this is only for USDN 5 minute. You can try this on other pairs. It does work also decently on, I'll show you here really quick. 65, right? I think it does work okay on Pound USD as well if you want to try that out. So let's go to Pound USD here. Click start. This is from, again, last year, January. This is on Pound USD. So it did give you profit, not at, nearly as much as USDN, but it did give you a really nice return. I mean, this is still amazing. $5,000, $30,000. I mean, that's good. It still has an amazing recovery factor. It has minimal drawdown, balance drawdown, and equity drawdown. It has a 64% win rate. And you can see your consecutive losses was only $740, while the consecutive wins were $7,665. That's also amazing, right? But if you were to put this on something else, again, you can test it in the back tester or whatever. Let's say if I did something like pound yen, you'll see it wouldn't do as good on pound yen. It'd actually be bad on pound yen. So that's why it's really important to only have it on USD and pound USD. Let's really quick run it and see how it looks on pound yen. It'll load the history. Taking a while to load it. See, on pound yen, it's not even opening any trades. That's probably because the risk percentage. But test it. Now this is specific so only for USDN, and now you see you can also use it on Pound USD. I will be coming out with another version, hopefully soon or in the next few weeks, for Bitcoin and for Nasdaq. Okay, the Bitcoin one is also pretty decent. I just need to optimize it a little bit more, and the Nasdaq one I'm gonna work on it next, and then gold. All right, so I'm gonna make the same EA, try to work on all those, and it's gonna be the same thing, right? So again, I recommend IC markets. raw spread account. They have multiple accounts, but raw spread's the best. And you should probably the smart thing to do is open up a VPS so you can let this EA run the whole time, right? If you have it on a computer, it's really important that you let it run the whole time because if you don't, there are some those big trades that you saw on the back tester. If you don't let it run the whole time and you miss one of those trades, that will impact your thing a lot, right? It will impact how much time it takes for you to make the money and how much money you make is going to impact it. These big dips here, right? If you do miss these are most of the time is one trade. So if you miss this somehow, this thing will just be flat this whole time, right? These are your significant winners. And so I think that's pretty much it. Use a VPS, IC markets, get this EA, put it on. You don't even need $5,000 deposit. I just use that as a thing, right? Even if you put $500, right? Graph is still the same, right? 5,000 was just an example. But even if you put $500, that turned into almost 100,000 and a recovery factor of 10, all right? A balance drawdown of only 11, 12%, right? Win rate of 67, right? Just $500. That's not much. So if you have some extra money to throw away, better to put it in here and give it a shot rather than put it into like a bank or something and you're getting 5% in a whole year, right? This is just significantly better. So this is going to be on my website. It's going to be under the robots page. Actually, can't really show it to you right now, but it's going to be under the robots page, and I do have the graph there and the back test here. If you don't know like what these mean either, some of you might just be dumbfounded. You don't know what this means. Search it up, go online and search it up what all these things mean, and then you'll see how decent this EA is, right? I've seen the other EAs too, and I've compared my EA with their EA. This EA is just, if not as good as other EAs, it's better. It does not have any drawdowns. By drawdowns, I mean some big drawdowns, right? No running drawdowns, good recovery factor, uh, decent win rate. It's worth a shot in my opinion. So that's it for this video. And once the Bitcoin one comes out, I'll update you guys, and then I'll make a video on that and send it out too.